Hi again. Hi, this is Judy with Ageless Attitude. And if you saw my first video, second video, thank you. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. You know, there are no accidents, really, not ever. Um, Everything is part of your soul plan. And even though it sounds kind of hokey to say, you were meant to see this video, it's true. And that's an interesting part of being evolving, is recognizing that we're working with a team all the time. The moment you're born, there are earth angels assigned to you, and their job for your whole lifetime is to keep you safe and not let you leave the planet until it's the time that you chose before you incarnated. And I have a story about that. I worked in Los Angeles. I was driving down Cahuenga Boulevard that dead ends into Melrose, which is a very busy street in the morning with traffic. And I was going to turn left to go to Paramount, where I worked. And there was a truck ahead of me, so I couldn't really see the sign, the light. And I was just following the truck's movement. And the truck came, there was kind of a stop, and then the truck kept moving. And I thought, okay, the light is still green or whatever. And like I said, I couldn't see the actual color. And I kept following. Well, the next thing I remember is uh, I'm driving my car, but I could see the hoods. I could see the hood of a car like right here and also on this side. And which I interpret as being I was in the middle of the intersection and cars were speeding towards me, and there were from both directions, and I would have been just annihilated. Um, the next thing I remember is kind of waking up, and I'm parked across the street safely in a parking space, my hands on the wheel, and everything started. It was kind of black, and then everything opened up, and the traffic was going. So what happened here is my earth angels stopped everything and lifted me out of this situation and put me in a safe place. And being someone who's not very easily um, uh, overly excited about something like this. I mean, I'm a very calm person, basically. I just kind of, okay, great. Got through that one and drove down the road to work. So that's an example. I just want you to be aware. And then we also have guides. Everybody has guides, and they're there to help you with so many things, and they're helping you all the time. I mean, they're downloading, they're trying to talk to you, but you have to invite them in. So physically, mentally, just say, I invite my angels and my guides to communicate with me and share guidance, and they're there. They love you. They love you. You're never abandoned. You're never alone. And they're there to help you maneuver through this lifetime that you chose, all the challenges and all the experiences, to become a better person in your own mind. You chose it for whatever reasons you had, all the experiences and everything. So that's something I wanted to share with you that is a very special memory of mine. And we've all had situations where you're driving down the freeway and something tells you to get off on that off ramp, even though that isn't the usual one or something. And sure enough, there was a major pileup just half a mile down the road that you would have been in. And I think most everybody, if you're even a little aware, have had experiences like that where if you're willing to listen to your intuition. I mean, some people just dispute that there's such a thing as intuition, women's intuition. Um, Women are too emotional, but everybody has it. And if you're if you will accept it, and like I say, invite your guides to communicate with you, and give some credence to this incredible gift of intuition, you'll find that there have been many situations. So synchronicity like that is, or meeting somebody at the mall, just standing in line, and they may say something that may set you off on a whole other path. You may never meet this person again. You may feel an instant connection, like you've known them forever already. And maybe you will be friends for a while, but they may disappear out of your life. But that was all that they were meant to do, is open up some new thought channel or something, or make some suggestions that would help you move in the right direction or whatever. And so none of these things are accidents. But people, these kind of situations, synchronicities, are often just one quick thing, 10 minutes talking to somebody or something you see, and it triggers something, and that was all it was meant to do, not to be a lifelong friendship or anything like that. So that's one thing. The other thing right now is we're in this major planet, and I'm not an astrologer, and I follow some brilliant astrologers with that are masters at it, have been for dozens of years. But once I'm done listening, I don't remember the details. I mean, I don't know sextiles from conjunctions and all of that. But this is a very monumental situation right now that we've moved into Aries. Thankfully, also Mercury is now forward, and I can sure feel the difference in that, the way my brain is working today. And I mean, this is my third video, and I've been postponing it for weeks and weeks and weeks. So it's pretty amazing to be doing all this today, especially when I have such bad allergies and my eyes are all puffy. My eyes are burning, my eyeballs are burning, and there's not enough pills or sprays to relieve me of this. I really need a nap, but I wanted to do one more video and get it scheduled. So with the planet, so the sun moving into Aries, and then there's something with Pisces and other things. But the point is that there's a lot of planetary action going on that has never happened before. And the astrologers are even like, I don't know how to explain this. I've looked back centuries and this has never happened ever. So it's just more of what I'm saying, and dozens of other people are saying. We're in a major change, major reset of the planet, of Earth, which is a living thing and has energy, and of humanity. So trust that how you're feeling. I'm looking at notes over here because I'm foggy from these allergies, and excuse my sniffing, but what's going on with this particular planetary lineup is releasing baggage. And I talked about it in my other video about what happened with me, and I suddenly felt this. Well, it wasn't suddenly, but I suddenly realized after some time that what I was feeling was just peaceful. I wasn't stressing over this or trying to push to make that happen, or going over and over something in my head and thinking, why didn't I do it this way or that way? We all do this kind of thing. And I had let go, and I realized, like I said, I just know stuff sometimes. I realized that I had completed my soul contract with the people, family, ex-husband, my birth parents. I had completed what I had planned to do when I came here. And now I am kind of betwixt and between, but I'm following, like doing these videos. I feel like that's something I'm supposed to do. And I'm kind of waiting for orders, okay, what's next for me? But I'm very excited, and I'm very happy about moving forward into the next dimension and the next world. And and seeing what comes next. I like change. I like to be surprised. I like all those things. But what you need to, if you haven't, the whole point of all of this, the the sun moving into Aries, and what all these planets mean, is looking back and letting go of the baggage that holds you down: guilt, unworthiness, um, shame, feeling abandoned, feeling unworthy of love, feeling you're not loved, and whatever has been holding you back. Maybe you've always wanted to be a forest ranger. That just came to my mind. Maybe you've always had a feeling about being a forest ranger, or something else. But then the social mores that we live, these rules that are somebody made up for us. I don't know who. Like, oh, you've got to get your college education, then you have to get your degree, your higher degree, then you've got to have a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan, and then you have to get a house and a job, and you have to do, uh, you don't have to do any of that. You do what you love, and it will work out. If you've read anything, you've heard this from people that are successful. Do what you love. So following these rules, this is being a victim. Don't be a victim to all of these made up rules that society dumps on us, whether it's through our parents, or the church, the school system, where everybody's regimented, do everything at the same time. Open your book to page 26. And we become so brainwashed and so used to being led around by our nose, being told what to do, and made fearful that if we don't do it, something terrible is going to happen. And this is all part of manipulating the population. I mean, going back to the beginning of time. And it's always been, I think that was one of the big challenges about coming to Earth, not only because it's for not only our own soul plan of our experiences and that we go through, but the planet itself was set up, I think, with a major karma deal that we had to work on, which was power over people, of that greed, about control, and that's been there forever. And I mean, everything, and a lot of people aren't going to like hearing this, but I mean, the Bible and religion, everything, have been, most of it, created in order to dominate and control people, and leave women out of the whole thing, basically. And I'm not a man hater, but it's it's very obvious that there's still this patriarchal order of power and control above us, and it's changing. It's changing. But look back and examine in your life what baggage you could let go of. I mean, all these feelings, and hatred for somebody, or some problems that you've had with somebody, and you're holding the grudge. And I had to go through all this, and I did. And things still pop up once in a while, but I really feel completely, almost completely, excuse me, relieved of this baggage, this big rock hanging, on my back, that I'd been carrying for so many years. And so that's enough of that. You have to figure that one out yourself. But things that just are no longer serving you, I mean, learn that you are important. You're loved. You're valuable. You're a child of God. We're all from the same source, and all part of each other, all cut from the same plan. And so you need to find that you're worthy, and you're loved, and you're capable of being loved. So a lot of the downloads from your guides and things will take place while you're asleep. And I know I wake up every day with just a whole new thing going on in my head, it seems. But then anything that, they're helping you to get to do this. And just ask them for more help. Help me get rid of all this baggage. What am I holding on to that I need to get rid of in order to go forward in a more happy, uh, sovereign, self-assured, confident person? Okay, the next thing is, like I said, you're never alone. Your birth angels are with you all the time, and all your angels and guides. So there was one thing that I was going to share with you, just in the way of experiences, um, to kind of demonstrate the kinds of things that you may not have allowed yourself to really believe when they were happening, or maybe things have not happened to you or like this. But it's kind of a complicated story. But I had a beautiful son, and I knew from the time I was a teenager. I'm not going to go into how I knew and all that right now, but I knew that I would have a very special son, but not for very long. I knew that, but it was on a very unconscious level. I knew it because I can kind of step back and watch me. If you know, I said that in one of the other videos. I mean, with all the experiences of when I was younger, in the marriage and the family and all of that, I always felt like I was kind of standing back watching a movie with me in it, doing things, and that's the way this was too. I mean, it was there, but I couldn't really pull it up and think it through, examine every part of it. It was just there, and but it wasn't an overwhelming, like, everyday thought, but it was there. So I always knew that was. So anyway, when he was 20, he passed in a car accident. And his older brother, I remember when he called me, that I can remember it very clearly, of course. And that whole morning was very strange, which events and things that happened. And like, I had gone to a very early meeting for Weight Watchers, I guess, or something. I was sitting in a church. They were holding it in a church. I was sitting in a pew and just sitting there quietly and waiting for this thing to start. And all of a sudden, I went like this, and I felt something. It was like something flew by. And later I realized that was him. That was his soul, that had been released from just this physical form that we just put on like a costume every time we incarnate, whatever, male, female, big, tall, whatever it is. And that was comforting. And again, I wasn't really thinking about it. So then I went back home, and I was feeling very light, actually. I remember I was feeling pretty good. And the phone rang, and it was his older brother telling me about the accident. And within a second, again, something pulled me to look over my left shoulder, and I felt like Jesus was standing there. And that's another story. I lived with Jesus back in that time. I've had flashbacks. And the thought went through my head, it finally happened. So what I had known for, I don't know, 30 years, I guess, 20 some years, it's hard to explain because I wasn't overly emotional. It was just, I just knew it. Anyway, so that was bad. That was a week before Christmas, and a week. My birthday's Christmas Eve, so it was Christmas and my birthday. And so a friend of mine said, "Come on!" Like 4 months later, a friend of mine said, "Well, I want to go to the flea market, and I've got some jewelry there that in a booth that I want to pick up." The guy was fixing the clasp or something. So I said, "Okay, fine." So we went to this flea market, and to the booth, and I'm looking at things in the tray, and in this one locket, I just kept, I was could not take my eyes off this locket. It was a heart shaped locket. This is it, and it had two little hearts, kind of like paper clipped. If you can see, they have sort of a paper clip on it, and to me that represented his two brothers. And I could not, and I was really beginning to choke up and feeling very emotional, and I held it, and it was really really a powerful emotional moment. And so anyway, I bought it, and I asked this young man who had the booth, uh, told him what had happened and why I was crying, and I asked him what his name was. My son's name was Matt. Is Matt. He's still alive out there. My son's name, Matt, and I asked the guy at the booth what his name was, and it was Matt Angel. Now, is that special or what? So this was a Mother's Day gift from my son who had passed 4 months before. This stuff happens. And a friend of mine the other day told me about her son had died a couple of years ago, and she wanted a locket, and how she found her locket in a very special way. They give it to us, they lead us to it, and it was a gift to her as well. But this was my Mother's Day gift 4 months after he passed. So that's enough for today, and there's more. There's IA Atlas, which is this interstellar probe that has been flying around Earth and Jupiter, and just there's so much more going on. And this whole planetary thing is just crazier every day. So I'll keep you updated on this, consolidate the information that I gather. We're going to see these last few days have been really powerful times, and then in April, there's supposed to be, there's like 9 planet, the allergies, nine planets lined up in April in that it has never happened, ever happened. So there's a lot of really huge upheaval and things that are going on. Okay, I'm done for today. This allergy thing is really getting to me. So thank you for tuning in, and please leave your please subscribe, and please leave a comment or question or something to share in the comments below, and we'll see where this conversation takes us. My goal is simply to trigger awakening. I'm not a guru. I'm not an astrologer. I just know that I know stuff, and I've had a lot of messages and a lot of experiences, and that feels like this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, is to try to help trigger awakening in others at this very, very, very extraordinary time that we're in. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.